By the way, Sunny Hostin, I think, went to Notre Dame. Her son's at Harvard. Her daughter's at Cornell. She's married to the Ivy League. And that's why she looks down on everyone else as a bunch of stupid losers who didn't vote the right way because they're not as smart as she is. I spent many years across from Sunny Hostin on the set of Bill O'Reilly. She is not as smart as she thinks she is. In fact, I defy you to show me one debate we ever had that she won. There isn't one.
What's up, everyone? This clip showcases Charlie Kirk dismantling Sunny Hostin's elitist arguments in an epic rant on Megyn Kelly Show. Sunny Hostin, a longtime liberal pundit and host of The Views, brings her Ivy League elitism to the table, looking down on the uneducated Americans who dared to vote for Donald Trump. Charlie Kirk doesn't just respond, he tortures her entire premise. We'll break down how Kirk calls out Hostin's condescending attitude toward working-class Americans, her elitism for non-college voters, and the Democrats' misreading of the American voter base. Buckle up, because Sunny doesn't just lose this debate, she gets obliterated. Let's get into it.
I know you saw this clip. Her disgusting, gross elitism and her complete out-of-touch nature with respect to the rest of the world. Sunny Hostin goes on The View and decides now would be a great time to dump all over the so-called uneducated, not non-college educated, the uneducated, which is what you are in Sunny Hostin's view, including you, Charlie Kirk, because she's conflating, right, people who didn't go to college with people who are uneducated. We've got to look at the clip, and then I need your reaction.
What we did not have is white women who voted about 52%, right, for Donald Trump. Uneducated white women, is my understanding. You have Latino men, actually, voting more for him. And you have, and black men was not the story. We're not the story here, because they voted almost 80% for the vice president. Right. So why do you think that uneducated white women voted against their reproductive health freedom?
There it is, Sunny Hostin's classic dagger. She doesn't even mask her disdain for these voters. Let's be clear, calling hardworking women uneducated because they didn't buy into college debt traps reeks of hypocrisy. Sunny, who proudly flaunts her Ivy League ties, seems incapable of understanding that intelligence isn't measured by a degree. It's measured by the ability to think critically and reject groupthink. And these women clearly rejected your narrative, Sunny.
And why do you think Latino men voted in favor of someone that's going to deport, says he's going to deport the majority of his community?
White women like being called uneducated white women. I think the economy matters, national security matters. But when you put people in these boxes, I think that's a takeaway from this race.
Okay. It's amazing. She's specifically there referring to the women, but of course it's the non-college educated men as well who voted for Donald Trump. And the nerve of this woman to whom the country has given so much to try to dump on people who didn't go to college. Look at you. Look at your achievements. How do you like the so-called uneducated now, Sunny?
But I said this to our team. I said working people, the muscular class, including working women in the sense of, you know, waitresses and women that work for Amazon. And there's a lot of women delivery drivers. They are so in favor of Trump, and they don't want to be called stupid or uneducated. And I've said this for so long, and it's finally manifested, which is that it is laced into how we do our public opinion polling.
By the way, make sure to leave your opinions or thoughts down in the comments below. This is a place for discussion. Be sure to give us a like and subscribe. Really helps out the channel. Let's get back into it.
And she played into it perfectly, because I've said this for a decade, and finally I have a piece of evidence to show this more than anything else, that we look at how we elect our leaders in two buckets: stupid and smart. And the stupid people are the people that don't have a certificate from Yale, and the smart people are $200,000 in debt because they went to Drake. And so the breakdown, though, is that Donald Trump, which, by the way, is just smart politics, because there's more people that didn't go to college than did go to college. And I know that's really hard for the Democrats to realize, because everyone in their circle went to college, but the majority of the country actually does not have a 4-year college diploma. The majority of the country are people that have 2-year technical degrees or community college, or they just went into the workforce right out of high school. And so Donald Trump gave these people a voice because they're tired of being told that they're stupid just because they didn't go into debt to go study something that doesn't matter, to find jobs that don't exist.
This is where Kirk hits the bullseye. Trump's resonance with the muscular class, as he aptly puts it, stems from one simple truth. They feel ignored, ridiculed, and belittled by the elite ruling class that Sunny represents. Let's not forget that these so-called uneducated Americans are the backbone of this country, the ones who delivered groceries, kept supply chains alive, and maintained this nation during the pandemic, while Sunny and her laptop class sat comfortably in their mansions.
And these people, by the way, Megyn, both men and women, we call them, as I said, the muscular class. They are the ones that kept the economy alive to great personal risk for themselves and their family during COVID. They're the ones that delivered you your Uber Eats for 3 months on straight, while you in the laptop class were able to keep on doing your job by opening your laptop in the comfort of your home while the Amazon trucks were still delivered and the supply chain went uninterrupted. Those people have felt belittled. They have felt talked down to. And Donald Trump communicated with them better than any candidate since Ronald Reagan in 1988. And the final point I'll say is this, is Sunny, you guys thought that abortion was going to be this like quasi-zealot religious issue? I'm pro-life. If people in the audience aren't, that's fine. What I'm saying though, what gives me promise, and I think we can all agree on this, is that there are other issues that should animate and drive our politics other than this very divisive one.
Kirk clearly points out that Democrats miscalculated by making abortion a central campaign focus. While it is a big, important issue, voters showed they care more about broader concerns like the economy, security, and quality of life. This undermines the left's insistence that this single issue would dominate, reflecting a fundamental misread of their side.
And I was really encouraged by that, Megyn. Very encouraged, because the media was forcing this as an up or down vote on a referendum on a highly complicated, very emotional, very personal issue. And it turned out the American people were like, yeah, actually, these other 6 things matter more, and good for them.
By the way, Sunny Hostin, I think, went to Notre Dame. Her son's at Harvard. Her daughter's at Cornell. She's married to the Ivy League. And that's why she looks down on everyone else as a bunch of stupid losers who didn't vote the right way because they're not as smart as she is. I spent many years across from Sunny Hostin on the set of Bill O'Reilly. She is not as smart as she thinks she is. In fact, I defy you to show me one debate we ever had that she won. There isn't one.
And I said this on election night. God gave us grace as a nation. I'm humbled by it. I say praise God. I'm just a small part, and he used what we were doing. I mean this. I had zero expectation that what we were going to do was actually going to move the dial this much. We did it out of obedience. We did it out of, hey, let's play the role. You know what it's like on a campaign, right, Megyn? Oh, if we can move, a couple hundred people and do your part and it all adds up. I had no idea that this thing was going to set off the way it did. And I mean, we look at these youth vote numbers. It's not normal. It's the best performance by a Republican since 1988. And allow me to say one other thing about the youth vote that I think you'll really appreciate, Megyn, which is the Democrats underestimated how much pent-up rebellion energy was there because of how they were treated and lied to during COVID and the political correct regime.
Kirk identifies a generational backlash fueled by COVID-era restrictions and aggressive leftist indoctrination. Gen Z, having endured unprecedented losses during formative years, is rejecting the narrative pushed by the same institutions that disrupted their lives. This rebellion reflects a shift in youth politics, with many embracing conservative values in response to the overreach of the left.
That coupled with COVID. So they lost proms, graduations, they had to wear masks, they were on Zoom class, and then during it, they were propagandized with the most ferocious, aggressive, misleading left-wing propaganda on race, on sexuality, on gender, on America that we've ever seen. And so now, 4 years later, this Gen Z was like, you know what? You guys in charge, the same people that were trying to lock up Trump, you guys materially messed up my life, and I don't like you. And I think the Democrats misread the vibe, for all about, they're about the vibe. They misread it. And we happened to read the room. We saw it. And again, these kids were disproportionately punished for doing nothing wrong during COVID for extended periods of time. And the Democrats just shrugged their shoulders. Oh, kids will get over it. Think about it, Megyn. You remember probably years 13 through 17 more than years, 23 through 27. Those are your formative years. And they were robbed by these kids, from these kids. And so we played into that in the best possible way. And Donald Trump became this ascendant symbol of, we're going to take back the country so that you can have a better future. And as I said at almost every campus stop, you guys represent the first generation since George Washington to have it worse off than your parents.
This is the knockout punch. Kirk not only calls out the Democrats' condescension, but also highlights their failure to connect with younger voters. Gen Z, burdened by lies during COVID and weighed down by anxiety, is rejecting the far left's failed promises. Democrats thought they could win these voters with slogans and fear tactics, but the truth? They underestimated just how badly their authoritarian policies backfire. Kirk's points resonate because it's not just political, it's personal for an entire generation.
It is a breakdown of the social contract. You are the most depressed, anxious, suicidal, drug addicted, psychiatric drug addicted, alcohol addicted generation in history. You guys deserve better. We do politics basically for one reason, to leave a better future for our kids. I mean, all the other stuff is fine, but that's really why we do this, right? So that you can keep this beautiful experiment going. And we failed in that. And this next generation had a say to try to make sure that they could also have access to the American dream like their parents. And they spoke decisively. And every Democrat right now is scratching their head, going through precinct by precinct, wondering why their safe spots of college campuses like Dane County, Wisconsin, like Center County, Pennsylvania, like Arizona State, like University of Arizona in Tucson, why they moved 20 to 25 points in Donald Trump's direction.
Charlie Kirk not only dismantles Sunny Hostin's argument, but also exposes the larger issue plaguing the left, elitism. By insulting the intelligence of working-class Americans and stereotyping minority voters, Hostin and her ilk alienate the very people they claim to champion. Meanwhile, Kirk stands firm, giving a voice to the overlooked majority. This was a masterclass in exposing hypocrisy. Sunny, better luck next time because you are going to need it. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts or opinions down in the comments below. If you agree or disagree with a lot of the points made within this video, be sure to give us a like and subscribe. Really helps out the channel. We'll see you guys in the next one.